3, 2, 1, and we're live. Good evening, everybody. Happy Mountain Built Monday. Today I thought we'd do something fun. Instead of saying where you're watching from and what the weather was like, why don't you share something positive from your day today? I do care what the weather's like, especially I see this person said it was minus 24. And that is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. But let's share something positive. Let's start this off on a positive note tonight just for fun. So, I feel like people need some positivity these days.
I'll say something positive.
Yeah, you start.
Taz did really good tonight.
You stole mine.
And Josie wore Riata's saddle, like her Western saddle, and she looked so cute and grown up. It was adorable.
She looked adorable. Yeah. Yeah, Josie looked really good, and she did really good saddling too. Yeah. We hauled them out together.
Yep.
And yeah, Josie did great. Taz had a huge day today. It was a very little victory, but it was a big deal for like our progression with Taz. So that was awesome. That was a big positive. Man, that was mine. Okay, I had so many. I was brainstorming when I was in the shower before this. I was like, there's so much positive stuff. Another positive thing is we're about to hit the road with TS Mules. So that is always super fun. And we're trying to get things lined out around here for when we hit the road with TS Mules and Ty and his family. So we feel like we're moving the needle in the right direction. So there's some positivity from here in Idaho. All right. Also, let me know if you can hear me. It looks like, oh yeah, people are saying all grown up, and
she did look all grown up.
We got Cray on here, Jesse, Laurel, Frosted Nostrils says 73 in Denver. Holy smokes!
Great name.
I suppose you kind of told me about the weather, which I said not to do, but also you said it was 73, so maybe that's a positive from the day. So
that's so warm.
Good job, Frosted Nostrils. Not frosty today.
Nope.
Let's see. We decided we have a different setup. We put our computer way up here high so we don't have double chins. So yeah, you're welcome for that. But it's also harder for me to type.
He's like,
yeah. All right. People are saying loud and clear. I'm probably yelling in the mic. All right. Let's dive in here. So Dawn is saying, any news on the property hunt? So do you want to share a little bit about that?
We have, yes, there's some news. There's one home that we're working on purchasing. We'll see how it works out. It is for sale by owner, and it's a little bit cloudy. So
yeah,
we'll find out more this coming week.
Yeah, that was pretty cryptic. Yeah. It's hard when you're trying to buy a property and you're in negotiations and it's not under contract, fully and stuff like that. To share as much as we are overly transparent on here, and sometimes it's never bit us in the butt, probably never will, but I don't know. It's like you don't want to share too much when you're trying to figure out a home to buy. It's kind of a big deal, but we are excited. We actually have two, I'll say, that we're excited for, because there's one like backup plan that I was like super excited about. But there's some pretty significant cons to that property that would like cause a lot of complexity. And so if we're not both like fully bought in, it wouldn't be a very wise choice. So anyways, but we're excited about that one too. So anyway, we got some fun stuff. Either way, I feel like we're going to have more space and have the ability and the setup to train some Mustangs, which is going to be a huge blessing that we're super excited about. Yeah. So, regardless of where it is, I feel like we're getting closer and closer all the time. So I wanted to share a positive that I read on here that someone shared. It's Rooster Wrangler says, I'm starting my Gypsy van or Colt. Yeah, that is a great name. I'm starting my Gypsy van or Colt this summer. Oh, and there was a question too. So that's a positive. And is there any tips and tricks that you can give a beginner?
Well, we've probably mentioned this before, but if you go on TS Mules, we made a whole thing on his Colt starting, TS Mules YouTube. So you can go watch his Colt starting, and you might pick up some tips there. You can watch the whole, it was like 5 days, I think.
Yep, I think it's 5 days.
I think it's 5 days. And they went from never being ridden to like being ridden around the property and working cows and stuff like that. So he's got a pretty good system, and you should be able to learn quite a bit just from that YouTube video. So I would go watch that for sure. It's one of the more recent videos that we uploaded over there for him. But check that out. It's awesome. It's really fun to watch. There's one horse and the rest are mules, but it's still, I mean, it's all applicable to everything. So
I'm going to start my draft cross Mesa with Ty, not this summer, but next summer.
Yeah.
And we tried to put everything in that video. So I filmed it, Alyssa edited it, and it's on the TS Mules YouTube channel. But we tried to put everything in there that can kind of get you steered in the right direction. But as far as like actionable tips is like, I mean, before you get on them, set them up for success. And you can dive into that better than I can. But
do a lot of groundwork and then do some more groundwork. I mean, really, you just can't do too much groundwork, I don't think. And, just make sure they're feeling good. You'll see the fence work in that video if you watch it, but do a lot of the fence work where you're up above them and, throw some ropes from up there, do all kinds of stuff from up there. And that way they can kind of see you up there. And then, when it comes time to it, when you're on, commit to it and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. Another positive here. Our buddy Kevin Ackerman says, "Hey, from Chattaroy, Washington. Went on a couple-mile hike with my daughter and 4 dogs. Left the mules behind. However, they smothered us on the way back through their pasture." So that's a positive if I've ever heard one. That's a good one. Family time, dog time, and then in the end, mule time. Yep. So can't beat that. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another question. And thank you guys for bringing questions. Today, the reason we're on so late is twofold. We're very busy, like I said, trying to get ready to travel with Ty. But then we're also a little late because our buddies, C&M Mule Packing Services, they do a Mule Packer Monday on their Facebook channel. And so we didn't want to overlap with Chris and Marisa. So anyways, anyway, we're late and I was unprepared. I don't have any talking points. So we appreciate the questions is what I was going to say. I almost lost my train of thought. And
if you guys have questions, we've said this before, but if you can put like a big red question mark emoji before your question, or just like a bunch of question marks before your question, that makes it easier for us to see them in the chat. They stand out better, and so we don't miss them.
Yeah. I have a question for you when I try and find this one that I saw a second ago. We actually lose subscribers every time we do one of these lives. So make sure you let us know if you enjoy these and if they bring some value to you. We actually have gotten to where we really enjoy them. We're kind of tired and we're kind of introverts. And so tonight we got home from working with Taz and Josie and we were like, I kind of want to just like sit by the fire and read and just chill. But we're like, actually, once we hit record, it's actually really fun. So we enjoy them.
I think people get confused what a live is too. They don't realize it's like live in person right now. Like if you told me to raise my hand, then I would be like, kind of thing. And people, well, like they could type out something and we would be able to read it, right then and there. And people don't realize, they think this is like a regular video. And so the quality obviously isn't as good as the others. And so I think that's part of it. People just get confused. So.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird because we kind of just talk about ourselves and what we've been up to. And I feel like it doesn't necessarily provide value as much other than answering questions. I guess that kind of provides some value. But speaking of questions, I found the question from Bob Ogg, who is a big time commenter. We always appreciate it. The big question is, what animal is Alyssa going to name the new Mustang after? we got a squirrel. We got a Yeti.
Yeah, I almost had a badger. The other Mustang we wanted, I was going to name it Badger. So that one's still available.
What would be another good one? Like Chipmunk?
Magpie.
Oh yeah, Magpie we have in the hopper.
Yeah.
Maggie. Yeah, we like that one.
Chipmunk.
I feel like that would be one of those kind of chunky.
Short, chunky.
Chip chunk.
Chip chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I could think of plenty of.
We kind of actually brainstormed names. We let ourselves run wild when we were looking at Mustangs, which is part of the reason we only got one video out this week. Was we've been busy, like I said, getting ready to travel, but also we zipped over and did a really fast trip to a holding facility. And so we were like, you know what, we're going for it. Let's have some fun. Let's think of some names. and I can't think of any off the top of my
No.
mind. But
Yeah. Yep. We found some horses we liked.
Dawn, thank you. Says, love your lives. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you. Oh, here's a question from Tim Humphrey that I almost missed. Oh, and there's one from Daniel Van Tol that I almost missed as 3 big question marks. I'll start with that one. Do you prefer the personality of a horse or mule? That's a great question. I know my answer.
Honestly, I mean, Rooster is very personable and I really like his personality. But overall, if I had just like broad, mule. 100%. They're like a dog. They're so goofy and they're so friendly and they just want to hang out with you. And yeah, they're awesome. Like a lot of horses are kind of like, whatever. But mules, like all of our mules are just like, they just want to be near you and they just want to hang out with you and they're super sweet and yeah.
Yeah, a little goofier. And I'm sure there's plenty of people on here that have horses that are like that as well,
for sure.
Obviously. But in general, I think the mules have the best personality. They're just so fun, so goofy, get choked up about it. No, they're just so fun and so goofy. And like on a warm afternoon, you go out there and hang out with the mules. It's like, it's not going to be boring. Even if you're just scratching them, it's like, they're just goofy and they're like stretching out and trying to lip you. And they're really, really fun animals. They are. And they think. So like we talked about the goofy side of their personality, but on the other side is like they really process like problems out on the trail and stuff like that. And that's fun to watch as well.
Yeah, we get spoiled riding our mules and like, Roosters has quite a bit of like self-preservation. But then you get on a horse like Taz and you're like, oh my gosh. Like he would just walk off a cliff, I think, like he's stumbling and he just really doesn't pay attention to anything. And so, especially after riding mules, it's like, then you ride one like him and you're like, oh, wow. Like, I miss my mules.
Yeah, you get spoiled on Clyde and Riata. Chicago Cat 8 says, greetings from the Kindness Ranch in Wyoming. The horses here are rescued out of research labs and need so much work. That's an interesting rescue. That's cool that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And thanks for being here.
Research labs. I've heard of like PMU mares, but it's probably different.
I don't even know what
I think those are mostly up in Canada.
All right. Tim Humphrey, on to your question, my friend. What is the update on Taz and any pics of Josie dressing up as a big girl? I didn't take any video. Oh, you did? No, nice.
Of course.
Nice. I was riding Taz today, so I was just focused on keeping the horse between me and the ground.
Yeah.
But so I didn't take any video, but I saw Alyssa was videoing me and Taz a little bit and apparently videoed Joe's too.
Yeah.
So
as much as I can. She's like this close to me always. I try to video her and I like step back and she's like, so mostly it's just a video of her face that I normally get. But no, she looks so cute. Yeah, I do have some video. I'll probably share that on an update at some point.
Getting all grown up.
Yeah, she is. She looks so grown up in her saddle.
Yeah, she looked really good. I was encouraged because we're always rooting for her to grow. And I felt like she's been filling out,
Yeah.
But when she had that saddle on, she looked really good.
But Taz is doing good. It's just going to be a really long road. It's just really small little increments of change. And so it's going to take a while with him, but he is doing good. I definitely think he's feeling better. Like we've kind of been paying attention to him because he would kick at the cinch, which is another thing that made us think he might have ulcers. And so it would be like every time he'd touch his cinch, he'd be like, kicking up at his belly. And today, Jason said he only did like one little half-hearted kick.
Yeah, he kind of just lifted his back leg is all, which was a big improvement.
It just once. And I think he's feeling better. I think the meds are helping him. So
yeah.
Yep.
All right, I see another question here, but I also see some great name recommendations. So we have Bob Og says, Badger is the name of my old horse. Someone says Moose is a great name. Skunk, Frog.
Skunk.
Ransom.
Josie should have been named Skunk, I feel like.
Yeah. Ransom, Rebel, Rowdy, and then Porcupine, and you could call him Porky. Those are great, you guys. Well done. All right.
What we'll probably actually do is kind of have we've been thinking about this. So get your name ideas in your head, because I think what we'll do is when we get the next Mustang, we'll have like a naming competition, and we'll figure out all the details later. But it'll be fun. So
Yeah.
you guys can put all of your name suggestions in.
We'll be taking recommendations in one way or another
Yeah.
for sure.
So
All
it'll be
right.
fun.
Another question from Frosted Nostrils says, given equines' keen sense of smell, are there consumer products, body wash, shampoo, deodorant, laundry soap, etc., that your herd likes or dislikes? I don't really think so. I haven't noticed. Like they definitely are always sniffing you, but I haven't noticed them yet have anything that they sniff and they're like, oh, don't like that.
No, I mean, if I work in my, like, because I still do taxidermy, and I use a lot of like Bondo and lacquer thinner and stuff like that. So if I come out smelling like that, they're kind of like, oh, you smell weird, But no, I don't know. I like to use a tallow balm that's like lavender based, and I feel like they probably like that. They don't seem offended by it, so.
I just saw Jesse Baisden says, it's been a rough day. You're a welcome distraction. I'm sorry, Jesse. Rough. You're one of our favorites. We have a ton of favorites, but you're definitely one of them. Every time we see your name pop up, we're like, yeah, Jesse, what's Jesse have to say? Yeah. And so I'm sorry you're having a rough day. That's the pits. And we feel you. We've had some downer days where we feel overwhelmed, and I don't obviously know what you're going through, but I hope it gets better quickly for you. Yeah. And I'm glad we're a welcome distraction.
With that, well, I'll give away a little bit more on the house. We were like, thought we were going over to sign paperwork on our offer, and then the seller told us about some complications on her end, and so now we're waiting around. So that was.
We were like this.
Yeah, like she called. This? Like we went over for a meeting with her and thought we were gonna kind of finalize stuff, and then it was like.
Yeah. We were already laying out the arena. That's our first mistake.
How many panels do we need? All right.
Yeah. So anyway, we've had some downer days lately too, Jesse.
And
we'll say a prayer for you.
We wanted to pick up a Mustang. There's no pickup dates until like next month. So we have one scheduled, but gosh, it's a ways out. And I don't know if the horses we like are still going to be there or not. So that's also a bummer.
We're supposed to be a distraction, not just sharing all our problems with her.
It's empathy.
Okay, I got you. It's empathy. Yeah. We definitely feel you.
Shared suffering.
Yeah, there you go.
Heard of that?
Yeah. Okay, next question from Rafael Torres. If I wanted to do something like you guys and see the wild horses in person, would you recommend transporting a wild horse from the West Coast to Florida? Or is the online auction my only option? That's a great question, Raphael. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
There are some. I would check. I don't know if you've checked the BLM's websites, but there are some adoption events back east that they have. I don't know what states, and or how far you want to drive, but that might be an option. I think there was one in North Carolina. I might be wrong, but so that might be an option. And the nice thing about the online auction is they do ship them to various locations. I don't know which one the closest is to you. I know they go to at least like Nebraska, and I imagine they go somewhere back east. So that would get it a little bit closer for, free of charge to that point. But if you wanted to come out and pick one in person, then probably making a road trip out here. The hard part is like what we're going through. We found one we really like. I called thinking we might even be able to pick it up like this week, and we can't pick it up for like a month because they just don't have any pickup dates. I don't know why.
Yeah. So
that could get complicated, and then you've got to pay a hauler or drive back and haul it yourself. So.
And the logistics are especially hard. They're hard hauling any horse across the country, but you said you're in Florida. Yeah, clear across the country. But it's especially hard, obviously, with an untouched Mustang because you can't just stop at a, boarding facility stopover point. It's like you'd have to really get the logistics lined out ahead of time and find people that have alleyways and 6-foot panels and all that stuff.
Be able to load it again, which might be really challenging because you can't lead them onto a trailer. You can't touch them.
You'd have to have everything lined out real good.
And I think if you have a big enough trailer, they can spend a night on the trailer, but I don't know if I'd want to push it more than that, and they're so stressed in there, like trying to get them to drink water and stuff. It's hard on them. So
yeah, it's definitely a blessing that I didn't really think about living out west is just being able to go look at them. Because if anyone watching is able to go look at them before you adopt, it's a huge plus. You just totally get a feel for them. You go spend a day at the facility and just watch how they behave with their buddies, and it's a huge plus. So, yeah, that's kind of tough. You can tell a little bit from the online videos for sure, but yeah. Raphael, if you do end up adopting one, I might get in trouble for this, but if you do end up going the online auction route, shoot us an email and maybe you could tell us a few that you're looking at, and we could look at them too. And I don't know if maybe you're extremely good at reading horses. I might be wrong on this, but we could also look at them too and see what our thoughts are.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesse, what the heck? We should be giving you a $9.99 super thanks just for being here on your rough day. You're the best. That's so nice. Thank you. And I also just saw one of my favorite kind of comments that just came in. So this is from Ron Young 8042. It says, my wife and I are in our 70s and really enjoy you guys. And we get those comments, and every time it just makes my day. I love picturing people like my folks, you know, just they're not in their 70s quite, but almost. Just like sitting back and relaxing and watching something that they just enjoy and they can count on, like being, you know, clean and wholesome and mostly positive and stuff like that. It makes me so happy because that's like just our goal. That's spot on. So thank you for taking time to say that, Ron. We appreciate it. All right. Next question. What is the story? Oh, crikey. It left me. What is the story of getting your dogs? I'm also a mini Aussie mom, I think is what it said. But they're the owner of a mini Aussie as well. So what's the story of getting our dogs?
Well, so after Jason and I got married, we wanted some sort of dog that could run around in the mountains with us and maybe teach how to find sheds. And I was like, why don't we get a lab? And he goes, well, I kind of want one of those like German bearded dogs, you know? And so we were like, oh, like a German wire hair. And he's like, yeah. And I don't remember if it was the same day or like the next day. We're driving through town and there's this plywood sign that says German wire hair puppies for sale with a phone number. So I was like, let's call them.
It's a sign.
And we called him and he's like, well, that sign was up. Like that sign was up since last year, but we're going to have a litter of puppies in April. And they had just bred their dogs again. And so we got first pick, and we wanted they're called slicks, but we wanted a shorter haired one because her mom was really fuzzy. She was kind of funny looking actually, but her dad was really handsome. And so anyway, he kind of picked out a puppy he thought I might want, and I ended up going and picking Yeti out. She was the only one in the whole litter that looks like her dad. All the rest looked like the mom. And so that's how we ended up with Yeti. And for the first 3 years, we were like, oh my gosh, what do we buy? Because she was crazy. And now she's 5 and she's really just she's so great.
She's amazing. She's like the best dog.
Yeah.
She's a really good one. She's still high energy, but she's a really good dog.
Yep. And
runs
then
free in the house all the time.
I had an older corgi that I had since she was a puppy, and she ended up passing away right before we moved here, and I was devastated. I'd been through some really hard things before I met Jason, and that dog had always just kind of been, I guess, like my little emotional support buddy. And so that was really hard losing her for me. And I wanted another like kind of smallish dog, but the corgi, when she was younger, she could keep up pretty good. But as she got older, her hips started having some issues and stuff. She just wasn't that great for going around in the mountains, like with the mules and stuff. And so I started looking up smaller dog breeds that could keep up with the equines that were like high energy, and found mini Aussies. And so I don't even remember how I found the breeder, but she's here in Idaho. And I saw these puppies for sale. And so same thing, we got picked the litter, and we were actually going to get Squirrel's sister, and went there, and she was so timid. She was like hiding behind the kids' toys and stuff. And Squirrel just trotted over and plopped down on my foot, and I petted him for a minute and kind of like moved him over and went to look at the other puppies, and he pops down on my foot again. And so I was like, all right, I guess we're taking this one. Like he kind of picked us. So anyway, that's how we got Squirrel.
Yeah. And we're glad we have them. They actually, here's an interesting fact. When you're traveling a lot, it's actually way easier for us to find someone to take care of horses and mules that we
Yes.
leave behind than dogs. So it's actually like they're a lot more, they cause a lot more complication for our traveling schedule
They do.
than even all the equines do. But they sure provide a lot of happiness too.
And we've tried boarding facilities, but Squirrel is very timid, and he just is petrified. Like, he's so scared. And I went and had him boarded, I don't remember, last year at some point, or maybe the year before. And Yeti came back so crazy, and Squirrel came back just terrified. And it was like 2 weeks before everything kind of just,
Yeah.
I was like, we'll just take him with us.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we've tried that, but.
Yeah. They're fun to have. You feel bad taking them on the road for too long, though.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Did you find a yearling yet? I'm getting way behind on questions, but did you want to dive into like what we looked at and what we found? Like, we filmed, so we'll have a full video of our trip.
We just don't want to share it yet because we don't really know the outcome of that yet. So
we can't really button up the whole story yet. But
yeah,
we got some good footage of some really good horses, and we have, I mean, like 4 that are real good prospects.
Yeah, we have 2 yearlings we really like. We have an 8-year-old we really like. We have a 7-year-old we really like. We have a 5-year-old we really like. And we have a 5-year-old that I really like. If I was going to get another one to keep, that one would be coming home with us 100%. But this is not for me to keep, so
this
you got
is
to
for
take
one
that
of
into
you.
consideration. Yeah, yeah. So
we hope.
We want to find something that just seems really chill, really laid back, is a good size, good build, you know. So we have a few in mind that fit that bill, and we're just hoping that they're still around.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. The pickup date was farther out than we were anticipating,
Much further out.
That's okay. We're just gonna wait on that and wait on our house at the same time.
Yeah, we're just
Let's be over here waiting
forever and ever.
Lots of stuff to be excited about, though. And Elantari AEG, reading's hard, says, what did Alyssa actually mean by a house mini? Like inside?
If I could, 100%.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that thing like cutting loose and peeing in your house?
No.
You think dogs are bad?
I can't imagine it. I don't like it.
It would be like 2 gallons of pee in one incident.
Yeah. So
have you guys seen the video of Arnold Schwarzenegger feeding his mini horse and his mini donkey his salad? If you haven't, you have to. I don't know how you find it on YouTube, but you have to find it because it's the best. That is my dream. That is the dream.
I'm pretty sure Arnold has a house cleaner.
Well, I mean, Yeti eats poop.
That's gross. So yes, to answer your question, yes, she meant inside.
100%.
Yeah.
Horses can wear diapers, right?
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Here's another question. What's the TS Mules trip that you're prepping for? We're going to Arizona first.
Yep.
And that's going to be awesome. That's early March, I'm pretty sure. We're planning to head down to Arizona, hopefully take our mules as long as the weather holds, fingers crossed, because we really want to take our mules, and I do not like hauling the trailer on ice, and it gets bad between here and all the way through Utah sometimes. So
thankfully we have a friend that's bringing some spare mules, so regardless we'll be able to ride and film with the Evans family and stuff, but
we won't be afoot.
Bring our own mules. That'd be fun.
It's way more fun to ride your own stock.
Yep.
Let's see. Another question here. I just got on and think you answered my question. Does Clyde recognize a trail, or is it the same to him? Wait a minute. Did I read that right? Does Clyde recognize a trail?
Is it all the same?
Or is it all the... Oh, yeah, good question. So like if you're riding out in the hills, does he recognize where the trail is and where he should walk?
Or does he recognize like if we're on the same trail?
I think what they're saying is like, will he be like, oh, I'll choose that route, or he'll just go off trail?
He just goes wherever Clyde wants to go. It doesn't make much sense to me. Him and I feel like some mules are really good at like, this is the easiest route, not Clyde. you could be on a really good trail and Clyde's like, I'm going to go up this hill. He's gotten better as he's gotten older, but you never really know. I feel like Rooster is similar. So maybe it's just a young horse and mule thing. I don't know.
Probably an immaturity
But I'm
thing.
like, why are we walking? Why don't we just walk straight down this thing?
Yeah. For the most part, they're pretty good. They'll take the easy route on average, but sometimes they get a wild hair and they just want to go somewhere else. But if you're riding and you're paying attention, it doesn't take much, just a little directing, and they'll be like, yeah, I'll go on the trail. If you manage to find a leopard appy Mustang, will you breed a mule from it yourselves and try for a Josie? I would love that. I'm all about Mustang mules. I want a dun mare, I want a Appaloosa mare, and I want all the mule babies.
I would probably be more inclined to get like a dun mare and try to breed a Riata colored mule over a Josie colored mule. I want to test Josie for the leopard gene. I need to call them and see if they can do that. I would assume they can do that on mules, but I don't really know. She gets a little bit weird when it's dusk, and I wonder if she doesn't have some sort of vision issue there from that. So we'll see. But yeah, she just gets a little more spooky.
Yeah. But
so I don't know.
I think Mustang mules would be like the ultimate mountain animal. I've made shorts saying mules are the ultimate mountain animal, Mustangs are the ultimate mountain animal. But in reality, if you had a Mustang mule, that's where it's at for sure. That's pretty cool.
We need to go film my friend Lydia's Mustang mule baby that she had. In that video of Lydia adopting the Mustang that we went and helped her haul back home, her mare was pregnant and she's had the mule, and now it's like almost a yearling, or maybe even is a yearling. I think it was April, so almost a yearling.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, the cutest mule. She's a little dun. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Yeah. Little Mustang mule. She's a firecracker too.
Yeah.
Just having a blast with her.
It's fun watching all of her videos that she sends us, like playing with the ball and stuff. That her equines have a lot of personality. She and her husband really love them and treat them well, and that helps their personality come out, I think. Any details you can share about Taz's progress? I can share a little bit from today.
Sure.
So actually, I'll rewind to yesterday. Oh yeah, I wanted to share a positive. So TS Mules Ty talks about, even if you're really busy and you only have 3 days a week to work with your equine, try to make them 3 consecutive days, because things start to stick both for your horse or mule as well as for you. You kind of get in a rhythm and things start clicking and going better. So today was day number 3 with Tazzy, and like I said, it was cold and windy and snow was blowing in and out, and I was like, ugh, I don't really want to go. I'd been editing and working on the computer in my sweatpants, and I was like, I don't want to go out there. It's all cold. But it was the 3rd day in a row, and so Alyssa and I were like, we got to go. And today, go figure, Ty was right. It was a big turning point for Taz. So, but rewind to yesterday, and I took Taz to the arena here in town by himself with no other equines. It was stormy and cold, windy, and I knew it was going to be a challenge for him, but he needs to survive some of those challenges by himself to start to learn to be confident in himself and to still pay attention in those type of environments. So I was like, well, this is not going to be really fun, but it might be helpful. And so I took Taz to the arena yesterday by himself and only did groundwork. And
I heard a helicopter flying over, and I was like, I hope he didn't get on him, and that's not like life flight, you know? I'm like watching, is it landing at the arena? No. I think it's good.
Yeah. But yeah, all I did was groundwork with him, and he was absolutely jacked. Like his eyes were huge, and he had happy feet, and he's a humongous horse. I don't know what he is, 16.2 or something. But you guys have seen, he's just a monster of a horse, and he's like scooting around and like just like quivering, and like I was trying to make sure he didn't run me over and stuff. But anyway, long story short, yesterday was really tough, and I knew it was going to be going into it. But I was proud of him for like sticking with me even in that heightened state and that super challenging environment of the cold and the storm and being alone. So I was proud of him, but it was not fun. So then fast forward to today, and Alyssa took Josie and I took Taz, and we went to the arena. And it was still kind of stormy today, but having Josie there, I think, helped. And also being day 3 of our little 3-day sessions, I think helped. And did the groundwork. And he's always just tight. He's just a high-strung horse right now. That's just what he is. He just has to be moving, it feels like. And when you just try to let him like stop and come down, he'll do like miniature yawns. He'll do like half yawns, and then he's like ready to go. So he's definitely just a high-strung horse. But today was a big improvement from yesterday in his energy level and his ability to just, when you like send him, just walk instead of like starting to like trot, and then his trot leads into a lope, and then next thing you know, he's just sprinting in circles. So today I would just send him, and he would just kind of turn the way you want him to and just walk. I was like, this is amazing. He's doing so good.
Yeah.
And kind of getting back to basics, obviously. But anyway, then I jumped on him, and he did really well. Taking the bridle, he gets kind of itchy, and he's kind of a pest with his big head and stuff. But
he'd clobber you.
He would. But today he did really well. And then we just kind of walked around the arena, and it was just chill, and you could feel that his mentality was like better. And so we kept it short, and we ended while he was still on that low, instead of like doing stuff until he gets all hyped. It was just like, hey, we're done. Good job. That's all we want. We don't want any great movement, any huge like wind sprints. It's like, just move with us. And then so I just got off, gave him that release, and we were done. So that's the Taz update. Do you have anything to add?
Taz is, he's really sensitive because like the Colt starter that started him, like they used Clinton Anderson methods, and I think for the right horses and with the right person, Clinton Anderson maybe could be great, but with this particular guy and Taz and the way he was using those methods with Taz, it was not a good match at all. So Taz now expects that when you go like, hey, can I send you off this way? He is like just Mach 10 and go. And if you try to like stop him, he's like, whoa, the other way and stuff. And all we're trying to do is just like a calm walk. And so that's been like a big thing. It's just like, don't overreact. Just slow and steady. Like no one's going to get after you like that. We're not expecting you to do these like crazy maneuvers. And then same thing under saddle. And then to mix it in to make Taz even more difficult is he is very big, and I think he's gotten away with pushing people around and being like, for a lack of a better term, a little bit spoiled. And so then you add on top of it, he's like a very unconfident horse. He's very nervous. Then he's been trained to just be extremely reactive. Like that's what that trainer trained into him. So then when you try to like ask him to turn under saddle, it's either this just huge reaction, or he kind of like throws a tantrum. Like he's like, I don't really want to do that. And he just tries to avoid the pressure. And so today he was doing really good. Like Jason was having him kind of weave through some barrels that were already set up in the arena, and he just like was flowing with him. And we're like, perfect. Like that's all we want. And it's like the slightest little pressure, like, can we just turn a little bit, like one step, good job. And that's where we're at with Taz right now. So just like all those little tries we're rewarding. And the main thing is like, can you just stay calm and just find some peace while someone's like riding you, So that's where he's at right now. And so he's getting it slowly. There's glimmers of hope for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love Taz. It felt so good. Someone had the barrels set up in a pole bending pattern, and that's what she was just talking about. But it felt really good when his mind clicked. We were going through there, and he was kind of like not really like in between my reins and legs like you want him to be with you. He was kind of like outside and like a drunken sailor. But when it clicked that he's like going through, weaving through those barrels, if you could feel it click, and then everything kind of became centered for a little bit, and it was like, oh, that feels so good. And it has to feel good to him too. Being with someone like that. So so there's a good Taz.
He's a very athletic horse, and I think he's going to be so fun when his brain just gets kind of unscrambled. He he's never had a consistency in the way he's been worked with, and he's just never had consistency, like as in timing and consistent work schedule. So he just needs a lot of time.
Yeah. We absolutely love him. Someone asked the other day if we got rid of him because he wasn't in our other live video. Neither was Riata, and no one cared that Riata was gone.
You can see Taz for a brief second at the beginning. They're just over.
But we're not getting rid of him.
No.
I mean, we eventually will find him a good forever home, but it's looking like that's going to be a long way off because we want him to be really solid, and it's going to take a while. We're not getting rid of him. We're working through it with him.
But him and Riata are in a separate pen, a separate field, because Taz gets ulcer medication, and Riata is the only one that's like passive enough to not steal Taz's grain. And right now he needs his meds. So
yeah, they're becoming buddies. It's actually really
fun. It's a perfect little setup. They get along really well.
Yeah, it's nice. People who have multiple horses will know it's nice when you find like the right setup where you have like the ones that get along together, divided off from these ones that get along together, and that's where we're at right now. And Taz and Riata are just buds, and I love them both very much. And speaking of Taz's diet, Jesse Bazin says Taz was really looking good and happier in the other video. I like how thick he looks. Yeah,
he's gained a ton of weight. I think he looks great. And the nice thing I've noticed too, like, so when we first got him, if we took him out and rode him, he would get so drawn up, and it looked like he had lost a ton of weight from one ride. It was really crazy, and that's why we didn't ride him for a while, because he just needed to put on some pounds. But now you can take him out and ride him, and he just looks the same. So I don't know if ulcers had something to do with that. I don't know if just he's less stressed now. I don't know, but yeah, he's definitely looking thicker and fuller and happier and healthier, and he's feeling good, I think. So
just wait till August when we've been hauling him to TS Mules clinics, and he's slipped out. He's going to be muscled up from being at clinics and working. And he's going to be mentally doing good. He is going to be awesome come August. So just wait.
Yeah.
Another question here. Do you think mules are less popular in the Northeast for practical reasons or cultural? I've heard they don't do as well in cold weather.
I don't know.
My thought is maybe it would be cultural, but I thought they kind of used to do like mule logging back in that country. So I don't know. Out here where we're from, there's a lot of packers and a lot of rough mountain country. And so that's why people like mules out here, is because they do really well in that kind of rough country.
Yeah.
As far as the cold, I feel like they probably do as well as horses in the cold.
I've heard they don't shed water as good off their coats. I don't know. I don't feel like ours have ever been different than the horses. Like, I've never noticed the mules get colder easier. They have a extremely thick coat. Like, they're fluffy. Our mules get fluffy in the winter.
Longer hair.
And so, it's very dry here. But when it does get wet, I don't feel like, looking at their coat, like it's soaked down to the skin any worse than the horses. So
it's a good question. We don't get crazy cold here. Like, we get down, usually every year we'll get to -20 Fahrenheit is kind of like our coldest, and that's not for very long. It'll be like for a night. And then there'll be a few days that it maybe hangs around 0. Not this year. This year's been warmer, but usually we'll have highs around 0 for a little stretch of time, and our mules do really well in that cold. But I don't know if it got colder than that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Next question. We have some more name recommendations. Judge, Fearless, and Chipmunk.
Yeah.
How about Judge, Fearless, Chipmunk? Maybe it's the first, middle,
Fearless
last.
Judge Chipmunk. Judge the Fearless Chipmunk.
Dakota Bassinger says, what equipment and cameras do you both use for vlogging? That's a good question. We haven't got that one for a while. We used to get that all the time, but we use Sony for our big cameras.
Yeah, we have
Neither one's in here right now.
FX3 and an A7 IV Sony, and then various lenses of all different types. Sigma lenses are great though. That's mostly what we run. They're cheaper than Sony, and they seem to be pretty good quality. And then we have a DJI Osmo. We have a DJI drone. Do you remember what model that is? It's a small little drone. And sometimes we use our cell phones. So we just have, I think I think we still have iPhone 14 Pros, and they work great. 4K, 60 frames per second is what we film with.
If you're thinking of starting Dakota, I'd recommend doing something like a DJI Osmo Action. We have the Action 4s. There's new ones out, but because they accept color grading really well, so you can get a lot, and we won't get into it right here, but they accept color grading well, and you can also get wireless mics that attach to it. And everyone on here can probably attest that if you have bad audio, it is not very fun to watch the video. So those DJIs, you can get a DJI mic setup that pairs really well with it, and you'll be rolling.
Yeah.
And
or cell phones.
Yep. Or your cell phone, because you probably already have
works
that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good question.
The main thing, I'll just add real quick, is storage. So get yourself a big external drive, and so you can store all that footage somewhere, because that is the main thing. We go through a ton of storage space.
Let's see. If I can't work in a round pen, how should I approach the unapproachable? The huge draft mare refuses the human touch. That's tough.
That is really tough in a big area. If you can.
We did it with Riata, though.
We did with Riata. Yep. It's going to be a lot of approach and retreat, and you got to just read her really subtle signs and not push it too much. The other thing is, if you can go buy some panels and make a little, just a corner or something, as long as she's not going to go through the fence, as long as it's not going to put too much pressure on her. But if you can get her into a little smaller area, push her in there, lock her in, work with her in there, let her back out kind of thing, that might really help speed up the process. But if you can't, then yeah, it's just going to be a ton of really slow work and reading all those little signs to try not to put too much pressure on her.
Yeah. Right now, her bubble, let me try to get my hands both in here. Her bubble is probably, we'll just say this big, like however big that is in her pen.
That could be 3 acres.
Yeah. And you want to get right to the edge of that bubble and then retreat a little bit, and then get up to that bubble and hang out there till she's comfortable with you on the edge of that radius, and then retreat a little bit, and then try to just get a little bit closer, but not so close that she or he will run away, and then retreat before they leave. And then they'll probably start getting curious a little bit, and they might even be able to draw to you a little bit.
And if you're feeding hay or grain or anything like that, you can use feed time to your advantage. So if you feed her, and then stand however far back you need to, 100 feet maybe at the beginning while she's eating, and then slowly just each day get a little closer until finally, she can eat pretty close to you, maybe eventually eat out of your hand, kind of thing. And that can help to kind of speed the process up.
And the only reason I have any take on that is because Riata was terrified of being touched at all by people. And we didn't have a round pen when we first got her, and we still got through it. And I'm far from like an expert horseman, but if you just pay attention to them and pay attention to that bubble, you'll be able to work on it. And it's really rewarding when you start getting closer and closer, and then they let you pet them and stuff like that.
If you can avoid getting her running and getting her kind of just in that like flight, freeze, kind of just sort of running around crazy, that's great. Because if you can keep her in that, mental state where she's wanting to engage with you a little bit, even if it's clear across the field, then that's better than just her tearing circles. It's going to be harder to get her back once she's at that point. So
once they start going, I just realized how far behind I was. I'm gonna have to skip some of these questions.
Who are you gonna skip?
Well, my mouse, it just jumped me down to the bottom, and I realized how far behind I was. So I'm skipping a bunch. Larry Wedbill says, all in God's timing. And yes, that is exactly right. Regarding the horses, regarding the property, regarding everything, our business, all that stuff, all in God's timing is so true. And we've been very blessed so far. Let's see.
Patience.
Here's a question. It jumped me all the way to the bottom, so I'll go to this one. Chicago Cat says, Ziggy the draft mare has been here at the Kindness Ranch for 2 years. She's gone through fences and over panels. She will eat from my hand during morning grain, but she won't allow a halter yet. Yep. That's probably, I think that was your question that we just talked about for a little while. But yeah, so like like Alyssa said, try to avoid getting her going. Apparently, that's crazy that she's been going over panels and stuff. So take the pressure off before that happens.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I got thrown off because my little cursor thing jumped.
There's one.
Someone says, did you incorporate your equine somehow? Oh, I wonder if they're talking about when we took Taz and Josie to the arena together. I don't know. If that's what you were talking about, yes. You can, like, if Taz is kind of amped up by himself, you can just make sure and keep the other horse, or mule in this case, kind of close, so he has a little bit of that security while I'm working with him.
Yeah, we talked about the rubber band analogy. So we want to stretch the rubber band, but we don't want to break it, because when you break it, that's when you have blow-ups happen. So Taz is definitely going to stretch it on the edge of that and then kind of back and forth.
Yep. Let's see. Someone, who was it, says, Sherry Wendland says, does Ty ever come to Texas with his clinics?
Yes.
And you're in luck
He's
because
going to Tatum, Texas.
Yeah, and I'm looking it up when it is right now because there are still openings in Tatum, Texas. Texas is big. I don't know where you're at, but he'll be there. Let me tell you when. Talk to him, babe.
I know what dates I think it is, but I don't want to say. I just looked at this today. I should know. But yeah, there's a cow working and a mulemanship one, I believe.
Tatum, Texas, March 25th through the 27th. And cow working, mulemanship one. Definitely, if you've, if
you want to go audit, it's $40 a day. You can go audit and just watch, so you don't have to bring a mule. And that's great. You'll still learn a ton even if you go audit. So
that would be a fun one to go watch, because it's kind of fun to watch people work the cows with their mules and stuff. And it'd be a really fun one if you went and you did the mulemanship one course, because then you get to watch, obviously, for free in the other course, which is cow working.
Yeah, the cow working. And even if you're never going to push cows on your mules, it is such a cool experience for you and your mule. Like, just to go to a cow working clinic, it gives that mule so much confidence, because they're pushing cows, right? They're like pushing something away from them. It's building their confidence, and you get to put all that work, all that, time under saddle, all the little maneuvers you learned to a purpose. So now, you need to reach and step over here because that cow's moving this way. And then you need to, do a leg yield or a side pass in or back up to get in the right position. And so it's really fun to be able to put that all into a purpose. So even if you're never planning on roping or working cows, it's really, really fun.
It is. I've heard. I wouldn't know what it's like to be able to do all that stuff. I know I do need to. And Coy said, it can be easy to talk yourself out of working with your equines, but when you go out and do it, it's always rewarding, and that is such a good point.
That's true.
People who have worked with horses a lot on here, they already know that probably. But if you're someone who is like just getting started and you have a horse of your own now, it's like it never fails. From the time, even when I was still taking college courses, up until now, if I'm busy and stressed and I'm like, oh, do I really want to make time to go work with my horse or mule? And I go do it, whether it's cold or hot or, whatever, or I'm busy or stressed. It's like every single time when I get done working with the horse, I'm refreshed and rejuvenated, and it was worth it. I can't think of one time that it's ever been like I went and I was like, well, shouldn't have done that. It's always rewarding. So that was a great point, Coy.
It's kind of like going to the gym. Once you put your clothes on and get out there, go you're at the gym, then you're like, oh, I guess I'll work out. Yeah. So it's like you just got to change into whatever barn clothes and get out there and catch your horse. And then from there, it's just really enjoyable.
Yep. Libby Bryant says, one way you can make a living is to train the Mustangs. The first steps so they're easier to continue on with their life with the first start of their training before driving across country. Yeah. Oh, I see. Oh, that's such a good point. I am tracking. I had a hard time reading and thinking at the same time.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we want to do. Like we talked about getting a yearling, to do that, but we might get an older horse to do that with too. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. I didn't think about it being a benefit to be able to like trailer them across the country to someone.
Yeah, I didn't either, but that's a really good point.
That's a great point. And we were picturing just if someone didn't have the confidence to start a wild horse or Mustang or whatever you want to call them on their own, but they really felt attracted to having a Mustang, it's like we could gentle them and expose them to some cool stuff, traveling with Ty and going to clinics and stuff like that, and then pass it off in a way that the owner is set up for success and the horse is set up for success. But yeah, that's a great point too, to where they'd be able to trailer across the country and stop over in, Wyoming and then Wisconsin or, wherever, and get to their home back east. Chicago Cat says, to Coy says, especially with 60-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, I've never actually gone out to work with a horse in 60-mile-an-hour winds, but I bet even that would be rewarding. Maybe. I don't know. It might be a short session. Any updates on Taz and his body? Yeah, Abigail, we talked about that, and thanks for being here. But that's earlier in the live. We kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. So. There's a couple little sections on Taz, so you can go back and listen to that. We talk all about him. So.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he's on track. We're on the slow track, but we're going the right direction. And that's what it needs to be. Building that foundation. Did Taz end up being tested and cleared for ulcers? So
we haven't got him tested, so we just decided to go ahead and treat him for ulcers. And it's definitely making huge improvements with him. So it's noticeable improvements.
Pretty much positive that he was probably dealing with some ulcer issues. And also pretty positive that he's healing up from it.
Yeah, he's doing way better. And putting on weight, way better.
Taz the drunken sailor, Lost Tribe says, yep. And a very fast one at that.
Yes. High speed drunken sailor.
Maybe it's more like meth. I don't know. Taz the methed out sailor. No, we're supposed to talk about our horses, how we want them to be.
Yeah, he's going to be awesome.
Taz the bridle horse. All right, here's a question. Wait, all it has is a big question marks and then no question. Dawn. Oh, there we go. Down lower. Question marks. Hand up. How long have you been married and how did you meet? Did you incorporate your equines, for instance? Did they bring you to the ceremony or take you away from the ceremony? That would have been amazing.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been really epic.
But our stories are sad before we met, and we were horseless.
Yeah.
So.
We were both, I was working at a jail and she was doing taxidermy in Colorado. And we met on Instagram, crazy enough. And we talked a ton about horses before we ever even met in real life. And we talked on the phone, talked about Buck Brannaman a lot. We didn't know about TS Mules at that point. But we talked about Buck Brannaman and that kind of horsemanship and how much we wanted to get back into having equines. It was all horses then. We didn't even really talk about mules.
Yeah.
And so they played a role in it for sure. But then we actually got married at the courthouse in Idaho Falls.
Yeah. So part of that was we were trying to pay off debt.
That was like 90% of it.
Into Dave Ramsey before we met. We had actually both sold our horse because we were working so much to pay off debt that our horses weren't getting used. We felt bad for them standing in stalls. So we both made that choice before we even knew each other. Kind of very similar stories. And then ended up meeting each other. So then, when we got married, then it was like, okay, we're paying off debt together and we're going to get out of debt. So
it happened pretty fast once we got married. We have our whole debt payoff journey in a video from way far back when we first started our channel. But
so no big wedding because we're paying off debt. We didn't want to pay for a wedding. So we just got married at the courthouse.
We really wanted to get a house. But we did have a really cool reception in Eastern Oregon with all our family.
Yeah.
And it was at a place my family has traditionally gone hunting and stuff like that. And so we did have a really cool reception.
Yeah, it was like a big family reunion.
Camping and fishing and glassing
all the kids got fish.
Deer and elk and bighorn sheep. So
my youngest brother was pretty little at the time, and he got up at like 4:30 in the morning and was just waiting to go fishing. He was so excited to go fishing.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was cool. I don't know if Parker will watch this, but if you do, we miss you, buddy. We love you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone says I can hear you but can't see you. Can everybody else see us? That would be the pits. We have technical difficulties all the
if
time.
you can hear us, it's probably
You're welcome.
If you can't see us,
Let's see. All right. Someone said that's awesome, Rayleigh. So I need to look back and see what's awesome. Here we go. Rayleigh Allen. I'm 13 and bought my first mule and have learned a lot from y'all.
Hey, that is awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
I'm glad I saw that one. I almost missed it.
I'm glad you got a mule. That's really exciting.
We started off asking for positivity, and there's a big one right there. So everyone tell Rayleigh congrats. And if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. It's like if you get stuck on something, you can look up on the TS Mules channel. You can look up on here. You can email, like whatever. If we can help you, Rayleigh, let us know. Hopefully it's the coolest experience of your life. We love the mules.
They're awesome. They're so fun.
All right. People are saying they can see. So hopefully, Yvonne, maybe it's just your lucky day and your visual went out, but hopefully it comes back.
Hopefully not yours, just your computers or your TVs, whatever you're watching on.
Yeah. Let's see. Have y'all ever run into a horse that liked one gender over another? Oh, my Mustang doesn't like men.
I don't feel like that's as big of a thing as a lot of people say, but I did have a mare that had been abused by a guy before I got her, and she had only been a brood mare anyway. But she would full blown if a man tried to touch her, she would like squeal at them, like she wanted no part of it, and she really could tell a difference. And I don't know if she would have been that way with all guys or whatever, but she really was noticeable that she did not like men. That's the only horse I've ever had that's been like that. And I don't think it's really that common, but for her, yeah, she held a grudge.
Oh, man, thank you guys so much for all the chats. I feel like this is more than we usually get. I'm having kind of a hard time keeping up on them. Someone says, I love your chickens and rooster. Let's see.
We need to get a new actual rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name idea, Iggy the iguana. That's a good one. All right. Let's see. I think that's kind of it. We're over an hour. So thank you guys for joining us on Mountain Built Monday. Let us know in the comments so we can look back at it. If you guys I've been trying to do these lives out with the stock, but it's way harder to actually have a conversation on here and read the comments when we're out there. It's just so much more dynamic. So let us know in the comments whether you like being out with the stock, being in here, just hanging out and answering questions, or a mix of the both of them. So, here's one last question. All right, last one, Dawn.
And I thought of one more thing we need to say.
What?
We're going to move our videos, I think, to Tuesday and Thursday instead of Wednesday, Saturday. And also tomorrow we have Rooster's first ride in the mountains coming out. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a good one. So, stay tuned for that one. Last question here from Dawn. When did horse training go from breaking a horse to gentling a horse? And we go, this is me talking now. We call it starting a horse. When we talk about gentling Mustangs is probably what Dawn is talking about.
Yeah. I feel like that's different. Like super wild ones or ones that have been maybe abused, right? You kind of have to gentle them before you start training them. But yeah, I would call it starting a horse instead of breaking a horse, like if you're talking about a young horse. But yeah, we do talk about gentling Mustangs because they're untouchable and they're wild.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like starting them would include in some people's mind under saddle, but literally what we're hoping to do is just gentle them so that someone else can start them in their style. So that's why we call it gentling instead of starting or I mean, we'll call it training too, but that's why we call it gentling for what we're hoping to do in the future.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you guys. And we really appreciate you guys and all the positivity. You guys bring us a lot of happiness. And I hope you have, to steal Ty's words, the best week ever.
Have a good night, Jesse. Hope you feel better.